everybody. It is Tuesday, June 1st, and 4 p.m. So that means it's time for the Monster Maverick show. And I realized I actually have to say the date at the beginning of each show because when I go back and do the recordings, I gotta figure out what's what. So yeah, today's June 1st. It's amazing. We are into the summer months and just about halfway through the year already. And it has been, it's been a crazy year. 2020 was crazy too, but well, I won't get into all that because this show is about Splinterlands, and I am your host, Neil. Number one whale, excluding aggro because he doesn't count, and I'm gonna be doing some whalish kind of stuff here on the show, which will be a nice little preview for you. But yeah, I got a bunch of cards, and I run along with Gerber deck 101, deck 404. Deck 101 is the service where Splintoshis. That's right, Rondon. Splintoshis. 101, if you're looking to sell your cards quickly and easily, you just send a card to deck 101. You get 101% of the DEC burn value. Deck 404 is where if you have some cards that are sitting there idle and you want to put them to work and playing the game, then we can get that done for you, whether through a human player or through a computer player. And, you earn your DEC that way. So just, putting those idle assets to work. So, it's interesting. That whole business is actually probably going to change dramatically over the next year because I don't know if you guys have heard, there's this whole lands thing that's coming out, and it is going to be a major expansion, and it's going to make it possible for you to stake your idle cards onto lands plots to work and to increase production of those plots. So as a result, what I think is going to happen is the rental market is going to expand a lot because there's, obviously some people are going to have cards and lands, but a lot of people are going to have one or the other. So, by bringing those two parties together, at an agreed upon rate, I think it's going to be a lot of transactions happening there. But that's not why you tuned in this week, because this week we got our super secret announcement from Yaba and Agrod, and I guess the rest of the team too. But we got governance tokens, which I'm super excited about, honestly. And there were some special AMAs that was held last week on Thursday. But for anybody who missed the updates, let me see if I can find the post. Normally I would have all this queued up, but I'm not that good a host. So we're gonna hit the SPS post, and we're also going to talk about the airdrop card. And why did this open in the wrong window? That is what I want to know. I have so many browsers open because of when I broadcast the show, I have to have different things open so that you can see different things on the overlay. But and OBS is not the greatest at picking up all those things. All right, so we got it. And if you are looking to watch the streams, those are the links right there, mspwaves.com, Vim, Theta, and you can just click those links and watch the screen, because I actually do a fair amount with the video. So, announcing Splinter Shards, SPS, the Splinterlands governance token. And a little bit of intro, talking about the game's 3 years old. The past 3 years, players have won $250,000 worth of tournament prizes, earned 1.7 billion DEC, sold about $4 million worth of cards, peer-to-peer, all that great stuff. There's some lore, which, I'm going to skip for right now. But here is the token details, supply, and distribution. So here's the important thing. One is that this whole thing is operating primarily on Binance Smart Chain. And that is actually a great thing to grow beyond the Hive ecosystem. And during the AMA special last week, I made a comment that Yaba was bringing the heat, because one of the things he mentioned was that by expanding to Binance Smart Chain, which is an Ethereum, an EVM, Ethereum Virtual Machine, I think is what it stands for. It brings it into the wider crypto community, which is incredibly important as far as exposure and as far as outside investors looking at the project, because we have to call a spade a spade. The Hive blockchain is great and all from a technical perspective, but has no adoption in the wider world. So at least on a relative basis. So by putting the governance tokens on Binance Smart Chain, we're saying, okay, the game partially lives on Binance Smart Chain, and that allows the team to attract those larger players into the market. And the thing that caught me a little bit off guard was that Yabo was saying that they want to bring some of the attention that's coming into NFTs, into blockchain gaming, that has been going to much worse projects or much worse games, and bring some of that into Splinterlands, because Splinterlands has done well over the last 6 months, but has not done as well as other blockchain games that are notably worse as far as history and project and just having a game at all. There are a lot of blockchain games, quote unquote, out there that are really, it's a really stretch to call them a game at all, because they are just don't have much functionality, but they have the token exposure and they have the investor connections to make everything work. So by going off Hive and onto Binance Smart Chain, we tap into that kind of appeal. So I think great move on moving everything to BSC. Now I know a lot of old Hivians have problems with Binance because of the whole forking issue, but you gotta take the market where it's at. Crim says, "Get the eyes wherever you can find the eyes." Exactly. So the whole thing is going to be operating on Binance Smart Chain, and there's going to be oracles that are interfacing between Splinterlands on Hive and the SPS smart contracts on Binance Smart Chain. So we'll get into how the oracles thing is going to work here in just a second, but the functionality is going to be very interesting. So there's going to be all these SPS tokens. You can stake them. And then when you stake them, you can stake them on players in order to earn some of the inflation that is going to be fed to battle winners. You can vote on governance proposals. You can provide liquidity in the liquidity pools. You can operate an oracle. And so there's this table here saying that what is it, 3 billion, 3 trillion? I think it's 3 billion. 1, 2, 3, yeah. 3 billion tokens are going to be allocated according to this schedule. So airdrop, foundation/DAO, private sale, team, partners and advisors, play to earn, staking, LP, Oracle rewards. So, I mean, there's a lot to unpack here. I think I'm just gonna hit the highlights, really. So the airdrop is going to be a year-long airdrop of 400 million SPS. And I made a little calculator, which, again, this is probably a thing I should have ready to go, but I don't. I made a calculator where you can calculate however much airdrop points you are getting based on your assets. And I will drop that link here. Not like I had it bookmarked or anything. Let's share that. Share. Come on. Come on, Google. All right, so you put in your collection power, your DEC, your Untamed packs, and whatever else you got, and you can then figure out how much points you're getting in terms of airdrop weight. So the way the airdrop's going to work is that every day the asset base of the entire ecosystem is going to be weighed, and whatever your fraction of the entire player base is going to be equal to however much you get of that day's inflation, which is going to be like 1.1 million SPS per day for a year. Airdrop to cardholders, absolutely. So the collection power is the number to input for your card holdings, and if you own all your own cards, then all you have to do to go to collection power is you go to splinterlands.com, hit the cards profile, and you can see your power. So like here's my account right here, and you can see the 9,489,000 collection power. However, if you are renting cards or delegating cards or doing whatever, that number is not accurate, because the airdrop of the SPS is going to be going to the owner of that card. So if you have any cards going in or out, then you have to trace those back to whoever is holding the collection power in ownership stake. And the easiest way to do that is if you go to Peak Monsters and you do the bulk view like this, and there's a filter down on the bottom right, and you clicked owned, yes. And then that will that will filter all the holdings of that account, and it'll give you the DEC value of those holdings, and that's the collection power number that you need if you're doing any kind of delegating or renting or anything. So in my spreadsheet, I would put in that number, 36,426,062, and that would go in that cell B2, and that will calculate, my own points based on whatever my holdings are at that time. So from what I understand, there's going to be a snapshot every day, and because people's holdings change and DEC changes and all this kind of stuff. So there's going to be a snapshot every day, and you'll figure out however much percent of the total Splinterlands universe, as far as these things go, you own, and then you'll get your share of the 1.1 million SPS that day. So that is how the airdrop is going to function. It's super interesting that, so are the tokens in-game and then have to be bridged to BSC? Well, the SPS tokens are going to live on BSC primarily. And I guess that's more of a technical question for Yama, I think. I know some will be in-game and some will be on BSC, and it's going to depend on how you have them staked, I guess. Or if they'll all be on BSC but staked in credit on Hive, I'm not sure about the technical details. There's a whole white paper. You can read about it, though. In fact, here it is. Let's go to copy link. There you go. So the airdrop's going to happen every day, which is an interesting incentive mechanic to, draw out the appeal of the airdrop, which I think was very well thought out, actually. So it's not just everybody gets dumped on or dropped on, day one. It's, this prolonged experience. Play to earn and rewards pools. So this is really interesting. So new SPS tokens will initially be added to the various reward pools at a rate of 37,500,000 tokens per month, and will decrease uniformly across all reward pools at a rate of 1% per month, meaning that after 1 year, the monthly contribution rate to the reward pools will drop to 33,239,400, and after 5 years, it'll drop to 20 million, blah, blah, blah. These rewards will end after roughly 65 months, 1.8 billion SPS tokens in total, and at that point, no more SPS tokens will be created. The initial planned allocation of the 37.5 million monthly reward pool are listed in the table below. So ranked battles, SPS staking rewards, LP incentives, land expansion, Oracle rewards, tournament prizes, guild brawls. So ranked battles is going to function pretty much the same as how the DEC rewards work now, in that you win a match and you get the rewards. However, you're only eligible for that if you have SPS staked on your account. And that brings a whole other mechanic into the thing, which is super interesting. SPS staking rewards, staking SPS into the system. LP incentives, providing liquidity for people to trade. Land expansion, not exactly sure the details on that. Oracle rewards, these are the people running the servers that'll bridge the Binance Smart Chain functions and the Hive blockchain functions. Tournament prizes are going to be prizes. Guild brawls will be prizes. So the ranked battles, I had this realization, I think, on Sunday, where one of the issues with the whole Splinterlands ecosystem is multi-accounting. And I'm just as guilty as everybody else on that, because I have like 70 accounts. So with the way it was described on the AMA, there's going to be basically an optimization curve as far as staking SPS on each individual player, because the better, if I'm just an owner of SPS and I want to make as much SPS as possible, I want my SPS to be staked on the number one player in the game, which is, so this past season that just ended, Bubkey and Yasik W tied for number one in champion. So they're objectively, at least for last season, are the two best players in the game. So the way the mechanic is being designed, from what I understand, is that up to a certain point, yes, it will be best to stake on the number one player, but there will be diminishing returns. So it could be, and it will be, the fact that you're better off going with lower ranked players in terms of yield per SPS because of that diminishing return factor. So that it incentivizes distribution amongst the top players as far as being the recipients of those staked SPS, but it also rewards concentration to the degree of that, if you're like me and you have 70 accounts, it doesn't make sense to spread out the SPS on all 70 of those. And so Yab is saying tokens can be held either in-game or on BSC and will be able to be bridged between the two. Tokens from the airdrop or from in-game reward pools will be credited to your game account. Okay, that makes sense. And then if you want to trade them, then you take them over to BSC and do whatever. So kind of similar to how DEC is working with Cub DeFi. You just bridge it and then, sell or do whatever you want to do with it. So that whole mechanic, that creating that dynamic balance between wanting to stake everything on the top players, but being forced down the list through the diminishing returns, and still wanting to concentrate as much as possible. That tension creates an incentive for people to stake on as few accounts as is realistically possible, and that means that the owners of lots of accounts are not going to be rewarded for having those multiple accounts. So it's a very interesting way that whole thing's going to work out. So, and a lot of it's going to depend on what the actual numbers end up being as far as how many coins are, or how many SPS are staked on each of the various players and what the returns of those are. So if it ends up being that the top 1,000 players end up getting staked for SPS, then, the incentive to move away from multi-accounting drops. But if it's the top 100 players, then there are few enough, if it's the top 100 players, then there are enough other players that the incentive to reduce multi-accounting is there. Apparently I'm cutting off in audio. It looks fine on my end. I don't have any dropped frames or anything, so I know I'm going to chalk that up to Discord. So yeah, very, very interesting stuff as far as how the SPS staking on players is going to work. Obviously, LP incentives, we need a trading market to facilitate value creation. Land expansion, well, it's going to be something tying in with the lands. Oracle rewards. Oracle rewards are pretty interesting. There was some commentary on that during the AMA saying how, you do want a 24/7 kind of server running these, whatever the Oracle program is, but it's not going to be, too hard, basically. So if you have a 24-hour kind of system, so like, I've got a couple virtual machines on Microsoft's cloud service that I run, so, those could potentially be hosts for the Oracle. But, you could do AWS or run a shell script on a droplet in DigitalOcean or what have you. But yeah, so the more oracles we have there, the better, and they'll be competing for that 3.75 million SPS per month. Ranked battles, well, so I'll just read this I kind of went over it already, but staked SPS tokens will not earn any new SPS tokens from the reward pools just simply for being staked, as is the case with many other projects. Instead, SPS tokens must be staked on a particular player in order to earn rewards based on that player's performance. Both the ranked battles pools and the SPS staking rewards pools will work similarly to how the DEC rewards for ranked battles work currently. After every ranked battle, a number of reward shares will be calculated for the winner based on the winner's ranked ladder rating, their energy capture rate, and any modifiers such as the use of gold cards, win streak, and guild or other bonuses. The SPS earned from the ranked battles reward pool will go to the player who won the battle, and the SPS from the SPS staking rewards pool will be divided among all the accounts that staked SPS on the winning player based on their percentage of the total SPS staked on that player, which is kind of a mouthful there, but so let's say there's 1,000 SPS staked on Yasik. Yasik wins. He gets his portion of the SPS winnings, and the people in the 1,000 SPS get their portion divided up with however much of that 1,000 that you individually own. So that's kind of the basic idea. The system is designed such that the more SPS tokens that are staked on a player, the more rewards the player and the holders of the SPS tokens staked on them will earn in total, but with diminishing returns for the SPS token stakers. This means that the more SPS tokens that are staked on a player, the lower the return will be per SPS token staked. Therefore, it would not make much sense for everyone to stake their SPS on the top-rated player, because after a certain point, it will provide better returns to stake SPS on a lower-rated player who does not have as much SPS already staked on them. And because players earn a higher reward for themselves, the more SPS is staked on them, it is always in the player's best interest to try to get as much SPS staked on themselves as possible. The higher their rating, the more they can entice the other SPS holders to stake SPS on them, because it will offer higher rewards for the SPS holders as well. So that's, this is a great reward mechanism to get people to climb the ladder as much as they can. And so currently, with the collection power gates between leagues and the the season rewards that have all been converted to the EC values now. It's interesting how people who have been sandbagging themselves in order to get season rewards might find it better now to go up to higher level competition. So that's all for the good. I think everybody should be trying as much as they can to get to where they can with their cards and their skill and their time. But the primary utility of the SPS token is governance. And I was talking about this, I think it was last week, and I had no idea that this was the big announcement. So if you listen to past shows, I'll sound like a genius because I was talking about how governance would be great. And I don't know if you guys can hear my kids screaming in the background, but it's just craziness. But so in-game governance is amazing, right? This is kind of what I've been talking about for a while. So from the AMA, basically every parameter in the game is going to be votable. So mana costs, abilities, attack value, speed, all those kind of things will be up for vote if people wanted to change them. Also, people will be able to propose additional governance proposals and outside of that system. So, beyond just tweaking the parameters of the game. And I think that we're going to see a lot of very interesting stuff come in. So I, for one, am very, very bullish is the right word, but I would love to see more custom skins or custom skins at all in the game, and creating functionality between like NFT Showroom and Splinterlands to bring that all together. So I would love to see a system like that developed, but obviously there is technology cost in developing that, and will it be worth the team's time and all that kind of stuff. So SPS equals let's make Rusty Android an awesome card. Yeah, so maybe if Rusty Android is a 3-mana card, then it'll be way more attractive, and somebody could put in a proposal to do that. If enough people vote to enable that change, then that could change. So very, very interesting stuff. My hesitation is only, stake-weighted voting is difficult because it's so top-heavy, right? If the number 5 billion airdrop points ends up being the number, that means I'm going to be getting about 1% of the airdrops. So that's a lot, So I would have a larger vote than just about everybody. There might be 1 or 2 exceptions to that, but I'd be, top 5 definitely. And, so if me and the other 4 in the top 5 get together and, want to vote on something, then it's very difficult for the rest, for the other 95% to come against that. Even though, they have the total numbers on their side, but, the individual engagement of those smaller voters tends to be lower. So it is more likely that the whales will be able to have outsized influence even beyond their wellness. So that is something to be mindful of. And this is just how stake-based voting, stake-weighted voting works. And I've been talking a lot about the need for like a bicameral legislature of some sort, to where you have one where 2 bodies, one that's stake-weighted and one that is person-weighted. But that's very hard to do in a open and permissionless kind of system. So I don't really have a solution for that. But so stake weighted is better than nothing. But I would love to see some kind of representation for the minnows in the ecosystem. Let's see. Release schedule is obviously what everybody wants to know. Token release and airdrop start July 2021. And I'm going to assume that there's going to be some kind of graph showing the amount staked, and people will be able to optimize that. Yeah, so make a quest. Win 3 games with a Rusty Android. That'd be awesome. So that could be a proposal, right? Token release airdrop starting July 2021. Bridges between BSC and everything, same date. Q3 we're gonna start seeing all the incentives and the tournament prizes and the actual implementation into the game as far as winnings. And in-game governance Q4, land expansion rewards Q4, because land obviously is also scheduled for Q4. And then BSC contracts, DAOs, oracles, Q1 2022. So a lot of stuff happening over the next 8 months, let's say. But I think this is a great project done by the team, and I think it's going to bring in a lot of new people, which obviously, like I've been saying forever, new users is the name of the game. We have that we have that criteria from Ubisoft saying 50,000 daily actives is the beginnings of success, and right now we're at 7-ish. So we got a ways to go. But just imagine what the market will be like in if we 7x the user base and we get from 7 to 50. So over the past week, packs have been flying off the shelves, and as a result, we got our 13th airdrop, which is the second to last. So we got the Gorladon, and so I think that leaves the Life Splinter as being the only one left on the release schedule. But Gorladon is an interesting card. It is a Death Splinter, 9 mana, 1 speed, 12 health, with Reach, Aim True, and Enrage. So obviously it's going to need high mana matches, probably, because it's cost of 9. It's got Reach, it's got Aim True, and Slow. So the Aim True and being slow is, it's good to have those together. And basically it's a second line tank. It's going to be its kind of default usage, I think. So nice to have that in the Death Splinter. Currently, the Corrupted Pegasus kind of fills that slot because it has the Reach and it has the tank heal. So, it's used a lot in that second spot. But Gorladon might give it a run for its money in higher mana matches. So, it's a good card. I'm happy to have received a bunch. So I ended up getting 38 on the airdrop out of about 3,000 packs. And I had to buy an extra 8 to round out to the 46 max level. And I combined it, and now it's in my playing deck. And so if you haven't claimed your airdrop, or if you're new to the whole Splinterlands thing, the way it works is you go to splinterlands.com, and then you go to the shop, and then you will see on the packs screen, you would see you were eligible for an airdrop right where it says you have 461 packs eligible. Right there. Pop Pegasus spot 3. Yeah, that is likely, Paul. But it's also going to depend on the rule set a lot. So in a no heal rule set, you don't need Corrupted Pegasus. If it's a melee mayhem where you can attack from anywhere, then you can do both and put them over. So it's so much is subjective. So here's a proposal, which I'll probably put in when that whole thing goes live, is in Champion League, not Diamond League, but in Champion League, having 3 rule sets available, potentially in any given match. So that would be a nice distinction to have between Diamond and Champion, because everybody's got max level cards in both, but you want to have something different between the 2 leagues. So I think that would be a fun thing to do. And champions are typically more skilled, at least we like to tell ourselves so. Therefore, can handle the interactions between 3 different rule sets. But yeah, so we got the new airdrop. It was released, I think, this morning, right? And we're already 10,000 packs into the next 100,000. So there's 1 airdrop left, and I'm pretty sure I was right about it being a Life Splinter. But let's go ahead and check. So going over to Peak Monsters, go to Untamed, Epic, Regulars, and let's sort by Steam Monster ID. So yeah, Beatrix Ironhand was the first one. Then we got the Fire Mage, Lobsterdamus, and Gorladon. So that just leaves the Life Splinter. And it's important to remember that so the next 100,000 will be the final airdrop, even though there's another 100,000 to go in the Untamed set. So there will not be an airdrop once the set sells out. In fact, a couple of us in the Discord earlier were trying to hassle aggro it a little bit to do not really a useful card, but something that's just fun to have for a final airdrop. That would be like 0 mana, basically like a chicken, 0 mana, 0 attack, 1 health, and just no dragon epic for these guys. We already got the Byzantine kitty for the dragon summoner. But yeah, I think it'd be fun just to have I don't even know if promotional is the right word, but just saying I was part of the Untamed airdrops, and therefore I got this card. Maybe it's not even playable in the game, but I think that would be super fun. We'll see. We'll see if that ends up happening or not. I tend to doubt it. Agrit said that is unlikely. But, stranger things have happened. We got a governance token out of nowhere, so, strange things do happen. Let's see. But, yeah, Lobsterdamus has been super great. Definitely one of my favorite new cards. Gorladon looks like it's going to be really useful. I am a fan of this particular airdrop. Goblin Fire Mage, I have not used as much as I thought I would, and just happenstance, I haven't gotten many Earth quests lately, so I haven't played too much with Beatrix. Just one of those weird trends in the random numbers that people like to, perceive, even if they're not real. So yeah, it's good times, and I made that market in Double Up. Let's see if I can find it real quick. About when Untamed will sell out. So the market is closed in that you can't buy new shares, but you could buy shares from people who already have them. By September 15th, 2021, I'm pretty sure the yeses are going to win. Now, the sad thing about that is that there's not much money in it because everybody voted yes. Yeah, so there is some PAL to be made there. But yeah, it's good stuff. And if you haven't checked out Double Up, you should. It's a lot of fun. People make all kinds of markets on politics and sporting events, and you can make them on Splinterlands cards as far as predictions of prices or things will sell out or whatever. So I promised some whale games at the beginning of the show, and what I mean by that is that the expansion of Splinterlands into Binance Smart Chain and the direction that the team is taking the game has engendered some FOMO in me. So I had been talking a little bit about how, should I buy another region or should I not? And the governance token has tipped me over into yes. So I am buying another region. And if you look closely, we have a whole bunch of DEC in here. So it turns out that should be enough. I actually haven't tested it yet, so I hope that's the right number. But I made an offer in the buy sell channel saying that I'll pay 12 million DEC for a region if anybody wants to sell as a secondary sale peer to peer. I got no takers, and immediately Crypto Eater was saying I'll pay more. So I was like, well, okay, if he's gonna sit there and outbid me, and I had no takers anyways, then might as well just buy direct from Splinterlands because. Well, I don't know why, but I tend to think there might be some small benefit to doing it that way, but I could be totally wrong about that. But regardless, didn't get any takers for a deal, so instead I just started buying up DEC for cheap because it was down to like 0.85. I was buying a little bit, buying a little bit, buying a little bit, and ended up, I don't know if I single-handedly raised the price, but it's higher than it was. See that on the DEC USD chart. You see that little uptick at the bottom on the very right hand side there? That's mostly me. So let's go to the lands, and if we do a region claim, 15,000. Ooh, that's a lot of money. But here we go. So I'm gonna pay with DEC. Actually, I wonder how many we could do. Is there a limit? So no, there isn't a limit. You should probably put in a limit there, Yeba. Because there's only like 22 plots remaining, or 22 regions remaining. Yeah, 22,604. So let's see that. And then we go to pay with DEC. Purchase confirmation. You'd like to purchase one region claims for 15 million DEC. And I press OK. Dun, 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 dun. So I was buying like 1,000, or I was buying like 1 million a day for a couple days, and then I bought some off the market, direct from a couple people for about 900 Splintoshis, and then I just bought the rest because once the FOMO really set in myself, then it really hit me. So. Now I am 2 castles, just like Matt Clark, and I need to change my nickname on the Splinterlands Discord. So yeah, that's one more region gone, and and somebody bought a plot while I was doing that, so that's kind of amazing. But those are my whale games for the day. So I am now a 2 region owner. And I was actually thinking about this. It's like, if you have 2 regions, do you want them side by side to maximize your control over an area? Or do you want them like opposite to you maximize your diversity? With my 38 plots, do I have more than Flesh Golem Matt? I don't know. I know he's got 2 castles, so he's got 2 regions. I don't know what other plots he has. But yeah, I got to make sure I keep ahead of Matt Clark. It's very important to me. There was a couple months ago. There was like a momentary blip in the market where his deck value was higher than mine, and I felt bad about that. So I have to make sure that I don't get smoked. But I think we're gonna sell out here of Untamed quickly. I would say so. We got 190,000 packs to go. I would not be surprised if it sells out by end of June. Could be middle of June even. If we're going at 10,000 packs a day, then that would put the last airdrop at next Thursday, something like that, and then the final 100,000 would go in another 7 days after that. So like 2.5 weeks from now. So I mean, it's entirely possible that I feel like channeling my inner Rogan there. It's entirely possible that the Untamed sells out here in like 2.5 weeks, and then will have a break of some indeterminate period, and then Chaos Legion will launch. Interesting question somebody asked in the Discord earlier of Aggro is if there will be a Kickstarter for Chaos Legion, and he said, or from what I understood of what he said probably not, just because of the amount of work involved of organizing that kind of thing, and they have enough that on their plates already. So yeah, I love the promotional cards. I love having special sets like that, but obviously it is more work for the team to do. But once governance is a thing, maybe that's a thing that could be proposed. It's like you could have governance proposed design. You have let's say you want to do a spring promotional card. And so like I love the Halfling Alchemist. I think that is one of my favorite cards because one, it's extremely limited and it was special to that time. And oh, there you go. Matt Clark has 64 plots to my 38. So curse you, Matt Clark. No, but so we could create a promotional card. By I hate the idea of designing anything by committee, but somebody could create a proposal, say, one, do we want a promotional card? Yes. Then you say, okay, you could create a proposal for each different things. Like, well, what splinter would it be? What would the mana cost be? Would it be attack? Would it be melee or magic or ranged? And you could go through every design parameter that way, and then you could submit artwork, and people could vote on whichever artwork they like the best, and then boom, not all, but a large chunk of the work is done by the community rather than by the team directly. So having a governance system opens the door to so much by delegating the work to the community to do. And so I think it's great. A great future lies in the SPS governance. And I'm a fan. So those were the two big updates. We got governance tokens, and we got the airdrop today. So fun stuff. I am looking forward to Untamed selling out quickly because I don't know if you guys have noticed, but prices are doing pretty well. So if we go over to the SM Voter Hut, let's see. Here we go. There's already a market cap image ready, which is handy. Yeah, you guys do all the work. We make the decisions, you still have to make them into code. That is correct, Ron. But the decisions is a large part of it. So if Yaba is given, okay, here's the card, here's the specs, here's the abilities, here's the artwork, I mean, it seems like that would be fairly simple to implement. But the market cap is at an all-time high, 16.75 million, and just in the last couple of days. So, that's probably related to the airdrop news, and then, or to the governance news, I should say. So once both really. Once the Untamed packs sell out, then all the new players coming in, they can only buy cards from existing players, and that means prices are going to be rising up. And I am, looking to benefit from that. On top of all that, V2 of the rental system is coming, soon. Put that in quotation marks. Last I heard, it was in testing, and as far as I understand, still in testing. So I would not be surprised to see, something there happening soon. And the great thing about the rental system, or version 2 of the rental system, is the liquidity of cards for the users. So, from what I understand, from what Jarvis said, is that, you'll have, let's say you want to rent a Yodenzaku, but, very expensive card and highly in demand. So you form an agreement, say, I'm willing to pay whatever it is. Oh, Yeba sent the details to Peak Monsters today. All right. So things are moving there. So let's say you're willing to pay $1 a day for a Yodenzaku of whatever level. And the owner of that card agrees and delegates you the card. If for whatever reason that delegation is revoked and the owner calls it back, then you're stuck, right? Because you had this card and now you got to go out and find another one. Maybe you have enough funds to set up a new agreement. Maybe you don't. But with the V2 rental system is that basically the owner of the cards being delegated is interchangeable. So, if the owner pulls back the card, then a new owner will be swapped in automatically, and you as the renter won't have to, create a whole new thing. So I think that's a huge benefit for players in creating stability of the cards that are being rented. So the IDs might change, but who cares? I still have a level 3 Yodenzaku. That's really all I need. So I think that's going to be great. And once people understand the power of that, I think the rental activity will go through the roof. So I'm very much looking forward to that. And there's a lot of interesting things that can be done with that, both in terms of battle and then eventually when we get into the lands, because as we've seen, we're going to need summoners and monsters staked in at least some of the lands. I think that's going to be a fair number, percentage wise, of the lands to get maximum production out of that. And like all things, there's going to be an optimization, right? Because how much of the increase in production from level to level of a card has to be weighed against however much more those levels cost of acquiring those cards. Because the growth curve is exponential, roughly. So it takes for an Untamed common, it takes 400 cards to max out, but that same card can max out, or it can be level 5 with 25 cards. So it's even though going from level 5 to level 10, increases abilities and everything, but it's not just double. It's whatever 16 times. So the net of all that is that there's going to be an optimization to be done between what levels of cards that you want staked on the lands, the costs of those cards, and the production increases those cards bring. So obviously, whenever there's an optimization to be done, computers are going to be best at it. So I imagine that I will be able to talk Gerber into creating something to do that math, because it's going to be changing on a regular basis. So it's going to be a lot to keep track of, especially if you have two regions. So I actually don't know what Matt Clark's plans are. I don't know if he's keeping both, but I'm hoping to keep both of mine, and then we'll see when we get the map claim, which might be delayed, I think, by like a month because of the governance stuff. When we get the map claim, I think we'll know a lot more about how the whole thing's going to work. But we are down to 21,602 plots remaining, and I had this wild prediction that Untamed and Lands were going to sell out at the same time or within a week of each other. It doesn't look like that's happening. I think Untamed is going to sell out. Lands might sell out by the time Chaos Legion launches. That could be a thing, but we'll see how all that goes. But if you're looking to get some lands, it's time. I've actually ended up spending more because of waiting. Because on the third airdrop, or not airdrop, on the third land pre-sale, I could have gotten them cheaper, and with the bat sale, I could have gotten them cheaper. But hesitation, costs, but that's okay, because that same money, made me a bunch in the meantime, so that's okay. The thing that was really holding me back with the region purchase was the opportunity cost, because it's like, well, that 15,000 DEC could be working somewhere else. And in DeFi, make pretty good returns. So it's a little bit difficult to make that justification. But now that we have governance tokens, that adds an extra layer to the incentive to holding land, because now instead of, let's see, for land plots, if I now have 2,000, that gives me 20 million airdrop points as opposed to 10 million airdrop points. So that is a good chunk. So That is exciting stuff. And I can imagine a situation where regions as a whole, once we have the map claim, will be traded back and forth. So, like for my own plans, I've got these 38 extras. I was thinking, it's like, well, do I, do I, just sell off the plots, those 38 plots, because 38. It's compared to the 2,000 is a relatively small amount. So I could sell them on the secondary market and make recoup whatever my investment was. Actually, my investment in those was zero because those were all rewards for providing liquidity. But I could make some DEC there, and then I could use that for whatever else. But I realized that no, I want to roll the dice. I'll claim them on the map, see what they are, see how those compare to my two regions, because maybe I get lucky and those 38 plots contain like the one or two things that I didn't have in my two regions, in which case I want to keep those. Or I'll be able to trade, known items for known items and, plot wise, and be able to capture any missing resources. So, it's open them up. They might be legendary. You never know. Probably not. but it could happen. My luck with the RNG is not good. In fact, I believe I got the absolute minimum on the airdrop today on the Gorladon. But I'm still, I guess hope springs eternal, right? Where I'm willing to take the gamble. And with all the different types of land plots, it's likely that I will cover the vast majority of them with having two regions, but there might be one or two or three that I'm missing, and then having those 38 extras opens up the possibility to capture those on claim or trading for them after the claim. So yeah, keeping my 38 extras to be determined after we know more, basically. So I am super excited about lands. I'm super excited about governance, and those two things together, I think, dramatically alter the future of the game. So I'm super happy with the direction the team's going. By having that governance on Binance Smart Chain, it brings all that outside interest into Splinterlands and say, oh, like in the Discord, I've seen over the last few days, I've seen people come in and say like, oh, you have all this stuff. I mean, there's this whole ecosystem, and there's this functioning game, and then there's a rental market, and you can buy and sell, and then there's the DEC, and then you can stake liquidity, and it's like everything in crypto is kind of encapsulated in one way or another in Splinterlands. So it's a great project that not enough people know about, and now with this move over to BSC, more of them will know about it. So I'm very excited about that. And once we get the empire building with lands going on top of the actual collectible card game, it's just going to be bananas. And already we're seeing huge spikes in the market valuations, and that's when crypto in general is not doing well. So I don't know if you guys have looked at the price of Bitcoin. I did my monthly snapshot yesterday. It was not good. There was a large number of US dollar value that is missing from my balance sheet now. But, one of the things that has counteracted that is actually the growth of my Splinterlands assets, because, they didn't make up for 100% of the loss, but they made up for a lot of it. So, this decline in Bitcoin that we've seen has hurt everything in crypto except for Splinterlands, as far as, at least in terms of my holdings anyway. Splinterlands and my stable coins. Those are the things that have been doing okay. But everything else is just coming down. So let's see. I forgot what my collection power was at now, or not my collection power, but my collection value. BTC makes Neil's spreadsheet sad. It does, let me tell you. And so I'm at 220 on the market valuation of my cards, which is just insanity, considering I put in, 30, 35, something like that years ago. So, I mean, I don't think I've put any fresh fiat currency into Splinterlands since, the last time was that I for the Kickstarter for Untamed, I put that on a credit card, which was, I had the 5,000 level, and got to input suggestions for Lear Deep Swimmer. And so whenever that was that 2 years ago? Maybe less. I don't know, a while ago. That was the last time I put any fiat funds into Splinterlands. And now I've got, 220,000 there, got two regions, which is going to be, worth, you figure, something on the order of 30 grand, so 250 altogether. That's doing okay, and having a fun time at the same time, playing the game, because I play virtually every day. I'm now in the Misfits Guild, which is a great name, but battling it out in the brawls. I lost my one gold foil fray, which is very frustrating. But the it's such a different game playing between champion level and bronze level. It's like I just don't know how the cards interact well at the bronze levels. Well, really bronze, silver, or gold. I don't know those league plays well at all. And I'm 0 for 2 on gold foil bronze phrase. So that's the best skill, absolutely. So amazingly, we're at the end of the hour. I've just been talking and talking, and here we are. So I want to thank everybody for coming, and I will try to get this recording up relatively soon. But until next week, we'll see what else the team has in store for us. We'll catch you next time.